Yeah, I know there's no sound, which I don't understand why there's no sound. There should be sound. I'm waiting for. Hey, hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. We're being broadcast live, of course, tonight on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe. You know the drill. And no matter how you are listening in tonight, make sure you stop in and say hi in one of the chat rooms, or you can say hi by just sending me an email at wildepaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. If you want to check out to see what's going on in my world, as I do periodic updates, they're not screaming often, but I try to do them once in a while. You can always check out the website. That's www.paisleywild.com. And now there's music. Awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure what is up with some of the audio stuff. It's just, yeah. So we're just rolling with it. Yeah. We'll come back to that. Let's see. If you want to support my radio habit, you can also do the cash tag, and that is $TheSpacesBetween. And that's just a direct deposit to, support the radio habit. Because, yeah, I do have one. I admit it. Hi, Wanda. Thank you. Let's see. The phone lines are open. That number is 218-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. And as long as you're doing your research and checking stuff out, check out iLife.com. iLife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. iLife combines the unleaded, non-psychoactive properties of the ayahuasca with the high-quality CBD to support you. And if you use the coupon code TFR for Truth Frequency Radio, you do get $5 off iLife. So, yeah. Some good stuff. And if you got questions about ayahuasca and how the unleaded version will help you, yeah, check out the website, iLife.com. Let's see. What else? Anything else? Oh, sound. Audio things. So, have you heard of sovereign.media? That's SOVREN.media. If anybody knows anything about it, let me know. Send me an email. I want some opinions. Ooh, yes. The book is The Wild Pagan, A to Z. That one's out and published. You can buy that on the website or at Amazon. The next book I'm still working on. Actually, I've got two books I'm working on. One for kids and one for adults. Because the adult one's is kind of a handbook to go along with a class type of thing. I'm thinking about doing like a month or 6-week kind of training session. So, not quite entirely sure what it'll look like because it's my first one. And, it's just, I guess my way is a little different than everybody else's. So, yeah, I might as well teach y'all if you want to learn more. I'm not saying you have to, but, yeah. Some of my foundational type stuff is what it would be. First level, basically. So, yeah. Last night, Justin and Mrs. Justin called in, and they had a couple questions about protection type stuff. And unfortunately, they called when there was, we were just about done with the show, so I wasn't able to really connect with them and really get a lot of information and answer some questions. But I got to thinking, thank you, Leo. So, this is just good information. We are, past the fall equinox and racing towards Samhain here in the northern hemisphere, or Beltane in the southern. Basically, it's the time of year when the veil is thin and it's easier to communicate with the spirits. And there's a lot of anger out in the world already, amongst the living. And a lot of those that are passing from this life to the next, they're not necessarily happy happy-go-lucky peoples. And protecting ourselves is important. And I don't think we do as much of it today as we did, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And there are some different things that you can do. Around your home, generally it's called a ward, W-A-R-D. Basically, it's a working or spell work or boundary line, if you will, that protects your home. And some people will set wards or protective markers around the perimeter of their property or their yard, or just the parts that they want to protect. For those of you that are into archaeology, there's a lot of interest or what's the words I'm looking for? There have been some discoveries in archaeological digs of witch bottles, and there's one school of thought is they were cursing the land, and the other school of thought is they were protecting the land. There's kind of both ways. Leo says he protects himself, but it's kind of a different type of protection. It kind of goes in the same pathway. Just like when hunters would carve, figures of the animals they're hunting, or their totem animals or spirit animals, or protective runes, that kind of thing, onto their hunting weapons. They would also, the same kind of thing with, contemporary firearms. You're maybe carvings and whatnot, or decor to call the prey to the firearm, such as, I have a long rifle, so it would make sense to have, an elk or a picture of an elk, that kind of thing. Eliza, you're funny. Hospital ward, ward off. Danger, yes. Oops, define. Ward. Ward also means protective or protect or guard. And it also means an administrative division. And so, it's interesting. Or a separate room, so a warning. You're a hospital ward, you're being warned away, or it's a protected area, or it's a division. So, interesting word association there, Eliza. Because, the word ward, just like many words in the English language, has multiple definitions, and is part of the problem when it comes to translating documents from antiquity into contemporary language. So a lot of those words do have multiple meanings, and ward, protect, or ward away, like your charge, or your hospital ward, a place to be, someone's taking care of you, your ward to the king, basically, or your niece is your ward, that type of thing. Or go away, you're not wanted here. It's not safe being told to flee. So two different definitions, almost the polar opposite in meaning. Interesting. Word knowledge matters. Because it's divided. It's kept separate. And often associated for a specific type of patient, or ward off death. That's possible. So, interesting. So, of course, links for any of the articles I use tonight are going to be in the show notes. And I want you to make sure you're doing some research on this one. Put the information in your journal if you can. And the reason why I say that is because not all ways of protecting yourself are going to resound with you specifically. There may Just like you don't use the same type of Band-Aid for every wound, not all protective types or protections are right for the situation. So that's why we do our research, kids, and make sure you're using the right thing in the right circumstance. Again, kind of like taking a knife to a gunfight or a gun to a knife fight. Either way, you want to make sure you have the right tools with you. Because, yeah, why wouldn't you want the right tools with you? Hello? Yes. So, first off, when it comes to protections, you can have protections for yourself. You can have protections for your home. You can have protections for specific areas of your home, your car, your workspace, your property, any of those things. Yeah, you can have extra precautions or safety measures, in your children's rooms or in, like if you have firearms, for instance, maybe you want to have extra protections wherever they're stored to keep those who are looking to cause mischief away, or to protect children, that kind of thing, or people who are not of sound mental status, so they're not necessarily making good life choices. So yeah, just what the type of protection varies, and people have been using protection spells pretty much ever since people started using magic. Because you do want to put some protections in place. It's not always cast a circle type of protections when you're doing a working or a ritual or ceremony or something. It's also just existing. Maybe you're going to go hunting and you want to make sure you have protections against you. Maybe in today's world, you're in law enforcement or the military or you're a first responder and you want to make sure that you are as protected as possible before you go on shift. It's not a whole lot different than putting on the uniform or your protective gear. Or with, if you're in the medical field right now, make sure you've got the right PPE on, the personal protective equipment. That's really important to make sure you have the right stuff, the right tools to accomplish the job. Leo, Leo asks, what about for dreams? Little man has dreams that wake him up, and sometimes we have to burn something to get him to go back to sleep. So you can create, make a monster spray. Often it's like lavender is a key element in monster spray. You just put a little spritz bottle, water, or the essential oils, water, and maybe some other things. A couple of, quartz crystals in there just to, excuse me, to make it sparkly and enhance the energy, and, just on the pillow to help him go to sleep at night and to, ward away the negativity or the thing that causes him to wake up. In circumstances such as that, with the monster spray, part of it is the placebo effect, of course, for kiddos, but also lavender is protective, and it does help you sleep and relax. So it's not all bad to have. Chamomile is another one. I do have on the website, I have a protection amulet or charm that is available for purchase. I want to make sure I've got it. I had Mini-Me made one for herself, and it's got tourmaline in it, and let's see, I think black salt and some other stuff. Yeah, there it is. Hematite, tiger's eye, labradorite, comfrey, mugwort, sage, cinnamon, cloves, and the one that she has made, she has it hanging over her bed. She's got dream catchers, another thing that you can use. Dream catchers, if you put a dream catcher up, it's a good one to protect your dreams. The dream catchers can be set for two reasons. One is to catch the bad dreams and protect you from them, or two, they're to draw good dreams to you. And depending on which one you have and your intention as you put it up, sometimes you do have to cleanse them. You can use moonlight or ceremonial smoke, cleansing smoke, such as burning sage or cedar or rosemary, dried rosemary, to cleanse it and then reset the intention wherever you hang it up. If you're hanging it up in the window, often it's to block the negative from coming in. Minnie has hers hanging over the bed to draw the good dreams to her. So it depends on which is better for him and which is calling to him more. There are many different types of protections. Real basic one. If you are a gardener, it's too bad Justin's not in. He'd really get this one. And you raise onions, for instance. You know, you see the pretty onion braids that people have hanging in their homes. So this is one, it's a witchy thing without looking like it's a witchy thing. Yeah, it's real. If you have onions, braid the stems together and tie them off on one end. And you can do kind of a French braid, so it's this long braided onion thing, right? And drying onion smells fantastic anyways. But you'll want to hang it near the door. And as you're tying it in place, there's a whole process. You can figure it out on your own. I'm not going to give instructions, but a protective charm or statement you could put with it is onions wrapped around a braid. The charm for my home I have made. Keep negative energy away from me. As I will it, so shall it be. Real basic. You know, and a lot of these protective charms or chants don't have to be really elaborate. They can be pretty direct. Like the protection charm that I have available on the website and some of the other spell jars. Just did a quick thing as we were creating them, as myself and another gal and Minnie. And just making sure the intention is put there. If he is a little bit of a sensitive, some crystals and stones are good for him. Honestly, a salt lamp is very good. It's good for the air in general, plus salt is very protective. Minnie will sometimes pet hers before she goes to bed. She's kind of an odd duck. If you're using onion for a person, it's a little different. You wouldn't necessarily want an onion braid. You may just want an onion. Because onions are protective. They're actually healing too. Did you know that? But for a person, you could say layers and layers of onion skin, layers of safety for those within, layers to make all harm stay out, keep, and you insert the name, safe without a doubt. So if you're giving it to someone, that might be of interest. But yeah, and most people, they see the salt braids as like, oh, hey, it was just a decorative thing for fall. Or, whatever. And it doesn't look like a witchy thing that you might have in your kitchen or your living room or near your door. It's just like, hey, somebody gave this to me. They thought I would like it because it's a cool fall decor kind of a thing. You could do like the Horn of Plenty basket and have other, things in there such as onions and other herbs and stones that are protective in nature. And just, it'd be like this decoration thing in the middle of your dining room table. Protective crystals that you might have, either in a bag in your pillow or under your bed, or if you make your own charm. Hematite can be used to create a barrier around your home. So if you put hematite in, say, the cardinal points or the corners of your home outside, around your foundation, that sets a protective perimeter around your home. You will want to do a small ritual to connect the stones, and then as you're placing them, some sort of chant or mantra that you can repeat, and because you're basically setting a protective circle being marked with the hematite stones around your home. You can also put them, say you have your own office, you can put them in the corners of your office. And hematite can come in multiple shapes and colors and sizes and decor, so it's not just a rock that you might have sitting on the counter or at the table. It could be something more decorative. Other type of protection stones would be amber. Just remember, amber is a softer stone and will break or scratch easily. So if you do put it in a pouch, maybe have it in a slightly separate pouch or wrap it separately to protect it. Carnelian is another one that's very protective, and so is onyx. You can also brew up protection oils. This is where the kitchen witchery kind of comes in to play. And protection oil, often you'll want to use like a fractionated coconut oil or a quality olive oil, but an oil that you can use topically. Not, bad oil. But you can put a couple different things in the oil to make a protective oil. This you could anoint yourself with, your third eye. I've done that when I'm in public and things are kind of stressing me out, and I'll just put a little bit of oil or essential oils or something like that, and dot my third eye and my chakra points. I go in the bathroom to make sure I get them all done, kind of a thing, just because, and I've got a little privacy to do it, and that's to make sure that my chakras are aligned and protect me, because if you are aligned and you're fully in tune with yourself, it's a lot easier to protect yourself. It's kind of like a house that's sound. The walls are sound, the windows are sound, the roof is sound. More likely to keep the weather out than a house that's missing half the roof and all the windows are blown out. So one keeps the snow out better than the other ones. So you want to, if you are sound structurally with your energetic signature, then that helps you, of course, create better protections within yourself. It's easier to visualize and it's easier to do. But if you do make a protective oil, it's something you could have in your car, something you could have in your home, any of those. So whatever oil you choose, you don't need a lot. So this would be a smaller saucepan or double boiler, or you could put it in like a glass measuring cup, a Pyrex cup or bowl, a deep one, to put in the microwave to warm up. I generally don't like doing stuff like this in the microwave because, even though scientifically, technically, they say the microwaves, as they're heating something up, doesn't change the molecular structure of an item. If you're trying to do magic, I try really hard to not bombard it with a lot of electronic stuff. I try to keep it as natural as possible, and I do it over a stove or a flame. If I'm doing wax stuff, often I will have an open flame and a little, crucible, if you will, on a stick that I use with the wax in it to heat it up, and I pour it or do whatever it is I'm doing, because I don't need a lot of it, A, because it's wax, and B, I'm trying to control the environment and I'm setting the intent. A microwave doesn't have quite the same ability. I'm not saying you have to try to make your protection oil or any other things over a campfire out in the backyard. I'm saying do the best you can. If all you have is a microwave, then all you have is a microwave or a hot plate or something. Okay, fine. That's okay. Use the tools you have. You don't have to go buy new ones, remember. But if you do have a stove, use a stove. So, the protection oil, you want just about 1/8 of a cup of oil. So not very much. So a measuring cup should be fine, or a microwave-safe bowl, that type of thing. Now, depending on your nose and what works, patchouli, lavender, mugwort, and hyssop are all very, very good oils. You can add them all together, or you can use just one. This is kind of one of those, hold on. Sorry, somebody wants to play with the furniture. It depends on what is resounding with you. What is it that you connect with? Personally, I don't connect with patchouli. If patchouli is going into my protective oil, it keeps me away too, not just everything else. So, on that note, we're going to stop with a quick timeout. Bottom of the hour already. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll pick up some more protective type stuff. Hold on. Hello, my lovelies. How's it going? This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between, where, if I make sure I hit the buttons correctly, the magic works, right? Sometimes you just gotta use a bigger hammer. So tonight we're talking about protective stuff. Yes, a bigger hammer, exactly. So once upon a time, I did a lot more IT work in an office setting than I do these days. And I had a picture. It was a duck standing on an office chair holding a big mallet standing over a computer. And the computer screen says, press any key to continue. And it looks like the duck is about ready to pound the smithereens out of the keyboard. Actually, I do need to update the protections for the computer. I need some shungite. That's on my to-do list. I will have to add shungite to the studio. It actually doesn't take a whole lot of shungite. It's just little shungite tiles that you can buy. Often they come with adhesives, and you can stick them to the back of your phone or your computer, your TV. It helps with the electronic debris that just kind of falls off of your electronic devices. Yeah. It protects you from that. Yeah. So, so we're talking about protective stuff, right? I was just, before the break, we were talking about protection oils. And generally when you're mixing the oils and such, visualize your intent. What is it you're trying to accomplish? Often we're putting together the oils to protect us or the people around us, and you're visualizing that. And make sure you label the bottle. That way somebody doesn't accidentally drink your protection oils or your moon water. Just saying. And you want to store it in a cool, dark place to keep it, the integrity of it as much as possible. And labeling is important. Like right now, I have an elderberry elixir that's, thinking on the counter. I've got a plum cognac that is thinking on the counter. I have mead that is thinking on the counter that I just started today. And today I brewed, we call it stupid tea. Nana Paisley stupid tea. And it's called that mostly because it's a healing tea for if you're not feeling well. Mini-Me, actually, she had some today. She had a little bit of a sinus infection working on her. She took it, and you could hear the sinus infection just drying up. It was insane. And so I brewed a big pot of it. Yeah, when I say a big pot, there's probably about 60 ounces. But I tweaked it a little bit. I added lemongrass to it this time and some cinnamon. And so I need to make sure I don't forget that when I make my labels so I don't, mess it up. But it was funny. Don asked for some, and he gets a coffee cup and fills it up. It's like, are you okay? Are you feeling sick? It's like taking an antibiotic shot and for a cat and giving it enough to treat a cow. I've done that. It worked, but it's not recommended. So anyways, yeah, protecting yourself. And if, like for me, patchouli is not good, and that's okay. Some people, lavender is not good. You want to make sure you're using oils that won't cause you an adverse reaction. Because if it's going to be on your skin and you're allergic to an essential oil, you don't want it. So, pay attention. And if you're going to give it to somebody else, you want to make sure you're asking them. It's like, hey, are you allergic to anything? Which is why I write my ingredients on my stupid tea. And it's called that because a friend of mine got sick and she refused it. She didn't want it. She kept getting sicker and sicker. And if you watch the news, everybody's panicking. It says Idaho's experiencing a crisis of care and there's not enough room in the hospitals and such. I can neither confirm nor deny because I've not seen it myself. That doesn't mean it's not happening. I just don't work in the medical field. So she calls me and she goes, I just want some stupid. I'll stop by and take the stupid tea. And so, yeah, we just call it Nana Paisley stupid tea. Is it something that's going to be available on the website? I haven't decided yet. Maybe. We'll see. I just don't know. I don't know. Anyways, talking about protective stuff, right? Iron is also known as being very, very protective, especially if you're worried about the Fae or the fairy world and evil spirits. This is why horseshoes have often been found hanging above a door. And, you know, if you're opening or have it hanging so the open side's at the top, it's so that the horseshoe is kind of like a cup and good fortune falls in and fills it up. That's cool. Or if you don't have that, instead you have maybe railroad spikes or horseshoe nails, that kind of thing, you can pound them in the soil surrounding your property, just not in the driveway, to help form a metaphysical barrier from those negative energies that might be trying to access your space. I have seen protection jars where they actually have little bitty iron nails within the spell jars, or if you're doing one, you're mixing it and you're going to sprinkle it around your property, they might have iron filings, that kind of thing. So just, it varies. It just does. With the practitioner and what you're ultimately trying to achieve and what you're trying to protect yourself from. Black salt is another popular one that people like to use, and it's becoming more and more common. It's very popular right now to use black salt. Black salt is sea salt, iron shavings, ash from a fire pit, black pepper, and black food coloring if you have it. So, and you're just kind of cooking it all down in your cauldron or a pot. If you don't have access to iron scrapings, you can use a cast iron pot or a cauldron, and sometimes there are scrapings that you can get for the bottom side of it if it's a little rough. Black chalk for the food coloring can work as well, if you can find the black chalk. It's out there though. And it's not something to eat. It's a protection combination. There are quite a few recipes out there for black salt and different ways to make it. I've not actually done this one. I just haven't felt the need, really. Depending on where you're at, you can use rowan twigs and you bind them together with a red string, and you can hang it in the window or over a door. Will also help to keep negative influences or energies from crossing the threshold. And I like this one too because you can, put rowan in as part of your holiday wreath or your holiday decor, and it doesn't look like you're a witch or trying to do something witchy or magical. For those of you who are in the pantry or the broom closet. Now, you can do an herbal dream pillow to protect you in your sleep, or you can also do a poppet to protect yourself or a loved one. It was funny. I know that Dawn and Brent got the mini Dawn and mini Brent, and it's like, to make sure that Dawn and Brent don't get sick again, or like Brent has had some stuff going on. It's do we need to put them inside of a salt circle? On the shelf? What are we going to do? Let's see. Leo says art stories seems to have black chalk, I thought. No, chalk, absolutely. You can mix that into, if you're going to make the black salt. It's just the biggest ingredient with the black salt is salt. And other things then to basically make it look black. So a dream pillow, if that's something you might want. Let's see. Interesting. That link does not work. Dream pillow. So a dream pillow. Oh my. Be careful what you search for. Just saying. good to use all the words. So, if you're going to do a dream pillow, and this might be good for kiddos, because they can pick out the fabric that they like if you're going to make something. Often within the sleep pillow, there is a sachet, and it'll contain things like catnip, chamomile, hops, lavender, lemon balm, rose petals, or the whole buds, rosemary cloves, lemon verbena, mugwort, peppermint, or spearmint. Or you can also do essential oils if that's easier. If you're going to do essential oils, clove buds, marjoram, sweet marjoram, lavender, rose absolute, Peru balsam, or black spruce might be good. And you just take the herbs and you put them in little, like a muslin bag or something. You can stick it inside of your regular pillow. It's like inside of your pillowcase, especially before bedtime. I have seen where people will have like a heat pack made with it's cotton fabric, and then it's got beans or corn or rice in the bag, and then it's got the sachet with the yummy smelling herbs in there within. So when you microwave it, it gets hot, and all those good smells are released to help protect you and help you sleep. I just like the smells, honestly. Mountain sage, balsam, rosewood, they're all a little different. And it's one of those things, hey, Julia, that as you with the herbs, especially if you go to like a tea shop or an apothecary that has the herbs that are available to smell. If you take your Leo, if you take your little guy in and have him smell the different things, if he really likes certain smells, those are going to be the ones you're going to want rather than something that he doesn't like or is allergic to, for instance. And so yeah, herbal dream pillows, yes, excellent for your kiddos. Let's see. When it comes to, protecting ourselves, especially ourselves more than our space or home space, there's a few different things that you can do to protect yourself. And it's not always, the big splashy, crazy things that you might think of. It's mostly you're just protecting yourself from mischief. Not always direct thought, but there is enough stuff in the world today that it's splashing around, and it's kind of like kid kicking in the bathtub and splashing water everywhere. It's going to land on you, and it's not necessarily going to be a good thing. So you could do a magic mirror, if you will, and that's basically a spell which bounces the hex or the curse back to its sender. Now this one, honestly, it's another one of those simple ones. It's just a mirror, often placed under your bed, kind of where your pillow is, and you can use moon water or blessed water to draw protective runes on the glass part, and then put a piece of tourmaline on there. Hey, Lucid. So, yeah, just, it doesn't have to be wild and crazy. And that's something that a lot of people think is necessary, especially if they watch a lot of Hollywood magic, is they assume that it's going to be a big deal. It's not just some quick little chant or mantra or charm or whatever. They're assuming it's going to, your to-do list is an arm, yay long, and you need all this stuff. And honestly, no. Yes, you can have a doll or a puppet to represent yourself, to take the damage in your place. You can also do a working to remove negative influences from your life. Sometimes removing those negative influences just means telling people to go away and leave you alone. It's pretty direct. But then sometimes they do leave some psychic residue that's kind of like stepping on gum on a warm sidewalk. It's just stuck to you for a little bit till you figure out how to get it off. Well, Sometimes it's just cleansing. Honestly, remember to take your shower at the end of the day or when you get home from somewhere. I helped a friend because she had a friend that passed recently. I think I mentioned this last night. And, when I got home, basically, it was time to shower. I didn't have the opportunity to shower. Instead, I washed from shoulder to fingertip with the intention of getting rid of anything that may have, been stuck to my hands because I did touch, property and trying to catch critters. So, yeah. It's frustrating. So Wanda asks, would dream catchers ward off bad dreams? So dream catchers can ward off bad dreams if you hang it with that intent. Often dream catchers to ward off bad dreams are placed in the window. And then dream catchers that are used to call good dreams to you are often placed above your bed. So sometimes they're in the window too, but they have to be near an opening, like a door or a window, more often than not, or directly over the bed. You can also do meditation, Reiki, chakra work, or other energy work to help align your spirituality and your chakral energies and just your energy signature in general. Because if your energy is out of whack somewhere, it's going to mess up your whole immune system, basically. So just like for people who need a hip replacement surgery, for instance, using that as an example because we all know what that looks like, right? Often the patient must first go to the dentist and have their teeth checked out to make sure they don't have any abscessed teeth or major cavities. And if they do, that has to be fixed before the surgery will be authorized. That's because that potential for that infection in the mouth can spread everywhere if the immune system is compromised when the hip is replaced. So with that, if your energetic signature has got a leak somewhere, maybe you're dealing with some depression, or maybe you've got just some drama that you can't let go of or get around. Maybe someone just passed and you're dealing with a lot of grief, or you've got a major emotional event, maybe a wedding coming up, that it's that can impact your energetic signature and make it a little harder to repel stuff because you've got excess energy going in the wrong places. So making sure that your energetic signature is dialed in, your chakras are aligned, will really help you in protecting you from the negative stuff out there. You can use a basic shielding ritual. So when you meditate, as we're letting stuff out and letting stuff go as we meditate, the detritus that tends to accumulate in the brain over the course of a day or week or hour. And I'm guilty of that one too. You let that stuff go and you're ready to focus on something. You can imagine a protective bubble around you. Maybe it's one of like a shell, like an egg shell around you to protect you. Maybe it's a spacesuit, whatever visualization helps you to protect you. For the longest time, mine was I could just visualize brick walls. Yep, I'm not here. You see nothing. It's a brick wall, behind some camouflage. And it's amazing how when you set your brain or your mind to camouflage and blending in, you really do. So you got to pay attention. If you want to be, stand out and be known or noticed, don't think camouflage in the back of your brain. Some people will cast that circle or that protective energy into an amulet. I wear a raven, partly as a representative of my path and my, what I'm doing as far as my my own personal belief set goes. And part of it is for a little bit of protection, and it's a little bit of a fidget. Some people wear a hammer. Christians often wear the cross or something similar. And it's a talisman, basically. It can help protect you from attacks. I wear a raven ring. That one, to me, is more of a protective piece of jewelry. But I do have other jewelry that I will wear, other bracelets. I've got a copper one. I've got some agate and, what else is that? Australian turquoise. And then I've got pyrite and steel. And then I've got the various rings with stones and stuff. Some of them I wear for protection. Some of them I wear because they're pretty. And if you don't know me, you don't know which ones are which. But then I also have some that are multi-purpose. You can, your protective amulet or talisman, I do see the little cages with a lava rock of some sort inside the cage you can wear as a necklace. Honestly, that little lava rock, if you've got the protective oils, you can put a little drop or two on that lava rock and just wear it around your neck to help protect you. And anytime you feel like you need that extra barrier, you can touch it to help ground yourself, and reinforce your boundaries or your shields. When it comes to different herbs, and I've got a list, so we're going to kind of go through it fast because it's almost the top of the hour already. So, thank you, Justin. So, acacia is a tree. Protects against psychic attack. So, that's something you could probably put on a wreath, for instance, if you're going to hang it around your door. Agrimony is useful at returning harmful energy to its original source. I am not of the... So, time out. I have no problem sending the energy, the return to sender energy, if someone is sending it to me. Okay, I don't need it. It's not mine. It's not my baggage to carry. I'm going to set it down, or I'm going to return to sender. And I don't feel it's harmful to return to the original source. That's why I tell others, be careful what you put out into the world, because that's what you're going to receive. So yeah, return to sender, be cautious. If you're putting it out there, it might come back. Basil wards off negative magic. So, I'm sorry, Julia. Blackthorn can reverse a spell. Cayenne can also return negative energy to a source. Talk about stick that in your eye. Coffee neutralizes harmful magic. So here's the thing. If you drink coffee in the morning, as you're making your cup of coffee, you think about it. It's like, hey, I'm going to get myself ready for the day. Anything negative that came to me throughout the night or whatever time period it is, I'm cleansing myself of it. I'm letting it go. And, the coffee is going to protect me. And just let that stuff go. Neutralize that harmful stuff. And then you enjoy your cup of coffee. Isn't that great? Coffee is magic. Dragon's blood rosin is very protective when you burn it. Hyssop is purification and defensive magic. Mugwort protects against astral attack or psychic attacks in your dreams. Let's see. Patchouli returns harmful magic. Solomon's seal protects against negative energy. You guys are talking about hot baths. I'm telling you, I want a sauna. I'm going to get a sauna that can be hot or can be dry or wet. I don't care. I just want to be able to go in and soak once in a while and enjoy that warmth, because yeah, we all need that once in a while. St. John's wort purifies and protects against psychic attack. Vetiver is used to break a hex or a curse. It smells good too. At least I think it does. Wormwood is used in uncrossing rituals to remove hexes or curses that might be upon you. Now, I'll go ahead and finish this, and I got a statement. Yarrow protects against psychic protection, or gives you psychic protection. Yucca protects attack via sympathetic magic. So basically, it's sympathetic to you. Yarrow is good. So, if someone says, oh, I'm cursed. I'm always cursed. Someone's always cursing me. Why do people have to curse me? The odds of you actually being cursed is not as great as you might think it is. I'm not saying it can't happen. It's just not as prevalent as Hollywood makes it. And, sometimes we just pick up some negative energy because there's a lot of negative stuff out in the world. So, could you be hexed? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? No. Just like it's not likely that you're cursed. But if you think you are, put that mirror spell underneath your bed. Just saying. And yes, Julia, chamomile tea in the bath is fantastic. Top of the hour, going to the break. We'll play the bowl when we come back. Quick night, I'm telling you. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild. We're not muted. We're still muted. Hold, please. I swear. Sometimes this timer is fantastic, and other times it just isn't. And, yeah. Watching the timer click away. Teabagging. You guys are seriously just kids. So, yeah. Hold on. There we go. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. Being broadcast, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, Tune In, and TalkStream Live, and on YouTube. YouTube. So, here it is, top of the hour already. Can you believe that? Tonight is just flying by. And it's not coffee, it is juice. Peach cranberry. Nummy, nummy. So, singing bowl time. Mm-hmm. Yes, sound cleansing is real. So if you think you've picked up some negative stuff, sound cleansing like with a singing bowl, pretty solid. Let's see. So, magical crystals and gemstones. I mentioned a few earlier. Yes, there's quite a few. And these can be on a necklace, rings, bracelets, hair doodads, earrings, prayer beads. Just remember, prayer beads are not specific to the Christian religions or some of the Eastern traditions or something like that. No. Anybody can have prayer beads. You can make your own set. It's just a touchstone, if you will. As I've mentioned earlier, amber protects against psychic attacks. Sorry, Julia. Yeah, you're working hard tonight, I think. Amethyst protects from negative energy. Black onyx protects against harmful magic. Fire agate is good for protection of the aura. Let's see. Hematite is good for psychic attacks, protection of home and property. Malachite repels hostile magic attacks. I have actually gone out needing malachite, and I could feel it. So I had, earrings, necklace, bracelet in my pocket, in my handbag. It just basically I found all the malachite I could possibly find at home, and bought more when I was out and about. It just sometimes you just need all the things, and don't be afraid to get all the tools. Obsidian is good for its protective energies. Quartz is good to protect yourself from hexes or curses. Ruby is used to defend against magical attacks related to emotions. Hot under the collar, red-faced, yeah, those negative or emotions that might, spur an attack. Yep. And then selenite is good for shielding against negative outside influences. So often I carry selenite on me. I also have selenite that I'll keep near my tarot cards just to keep negative energies away from it. Same with my altar. I keep selenite on my altar because that's just what I do. Mini-Me has a selenite tower that she has next to her bed. At least she did. I don't know, at one point she had a silver tray full of rocks and flowers and jars and just stuff, and I asked her what it was. She goes, it's just her magic stuff. It's like, okay, kid, whatever. if that's how it, And, you guys talk about homesteading. Yes. Farm work is a big deal, even if it's little critters. And yes, there's a lot of work there. And you find out you have muscles in places you didn't realize you had muscles. And it doesn't matter how physically fit you are. You suddenly start using those muscles and you're like, oh, what's that? And then the next morning it's like, how is there a muscle there? Yeah. So good stones. And when in doubt, don't be afraid to look up the properties of different stones and crystals. There are quite a few decent websites out there, so some really good books too. It's just a matter of finding the right ones. Let's see. Not that one. So when it comes to protecting your home or putting wards up, if you will. So I'm going to move this one over here. There we go. Just want to make sure I'm looking at the right screen. Otherwise, I start staring off in the distance. You guys wonder what happened to me. All right. So when it comes by protection wards, what can you do? Well, you can do an energy ward. And this is basically a working to create a barrier of your own energy around your home or a specific area. It is a little more difficult because it's based upon your own energies. And you have to make sure you're centered properly first, and make sure you've got that visualization down pat as to where you want the boundaries to be. This is a good one for like your bedroom, your really personal space at home, or your jewelry, or if you have a safe or something like that. Just where you're really keeping the stuff that's needs to be kept super safe, if you will. Crystal warding is using the crystals and gemstones that associate with warding and banishing around your home. Often these are found at main entrance points, such as windows, doors, chimneys, to keep negative energy or entities at bay. Crystals do need to be regularly recharged and cleansed to keep the wards strong. So, basically, if you can do it once a week, like when you're watering your plants, or you can do it once a month with the full moon, new moon kind of a thing, depending on whatever your schedule is. Just make sure you're doing it consistently about the same time. And if you feel like the wards are failing before you get a chance to cleanse them and recharge them, maybe you need to do it a little more often. That's all. Salt warding is very popular, in part because everybody's heard about it by now. It's all over social media. It's all over Hollywood. It's something that is just common. Media, TV, movies, etc. Salt circles, salt on your windows, that kind of thing. So it's a very old method for specifically keeping out entities and spirits. So you don't want to salt the outside of your home because it can damage the plants and natural soil. Salt the earth so nothing grows. So just pay attention. However, inside you can use salt because your pets are not going to be at risk. It's just salt. It can be a little messy, so some people do use jars or containers of salt placed near entry points instead of lines. Yeah. If you walk into someone's house and there's a salt line outlining each room, you can tell they're feeling stress about something. Or they've watched too much Hollywood, or they've been on too many hallucinogens, or D, all the above. So pay attention. You can use salt water to draw runes on your windows if that helps you. Leo says, thanks, supernatural. Yep. Let's see. Moon water warding. So the moon is often associated with both cleansing and warding. So water infused with the moon's energy is often used as a method to keep away negativity and historically disease and illness. Often is used either through the dabbing method, like anointing entry points with the water, using spray bottles, or the droplet and flick method. Moon water warding needs to be done on a regular basis, and best results are every few days in all areas that have a lot of traffic and entry points. It's the safest method to do outside of your home as well as around pets and young children. Another one not listed here is cascarilla. Cascarilla is basically ground eggshells, and you can go on Etsy and you can buy cascarilla chalk. Basically, it's the eggshells have been compressed into like a little paper cup, and you can use it as chalk, and you can write it, protection sigils on woodwork or the floor, or it's just another protective type of element. Fire warding is also known as ash warding, because instead of using fire, you're actually using you burn protection sigils or herbs associated with protection, and also written prayers in a fire, and then you use those ashes along entry areas of the home and scattered about the property. So it can be kind of messy. So maybe not such a good thing inside the home, but outside of the home is pretty good as long as you don't share entrances with other people, like an apartment or something. This is one you could have fun with your kiddos. honestly, because if you put it together and you've got some ashes, you can, mix some other herbs in there and just have them run around and sprinkle it in the yard. And they're going to have fun with it, and they're going to be participating as well. You just want to make sure to wash hands afterwards. You don't necessarily want them to eat it because it's not good for you. Wanda says, good to add moon water to morning coffee sometimes. Yes. For christenings and hand fastings, a little bit of moon water goes a long way, honestly. Just to anoint those that are participating, because it's just a little bit extra goes a long way. Rosemary Warding. So it's also an older method associated with many different beliefs. So it's thought to ward the home from unwanted guests and visitors, including inhuman ones. Also keeping away illnesses and to protect the family inside. Often it's done by making bundles of dried rosemary and hanging them on or above doorways. The rosemary bundles should be replaced weekly to bi-weekly. Make sure they are pre-dried before hanging them above your doors. You don't want rotting or moldy herbs hanging around your house. Justin, you're funny. It's not that kind of puff puff pass. But those are some really, really good ones. Some easy ones. They're not hard. Moon water's pretty darn easy. It doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. Let's see. So you can also use folk magic, because the energy of your home's pretty integral. It's your home. It's your safe place. Whether it's a cottage that's been around for a couple hundred years, or it was, built this year and you moved in over the weekend. There's, it's, what are you going to do? You want to make sure the energy is good. So when you move in, make sure you cleanse the space. And often cleansing involves, sweeping with a broom, physically sweeping dirt out of the property or the house, collect it, take it out, move on. But also you can use a broom to psychically take the negative energy out and sweep it out the doors. You can use the smoke, ceremonial smoke, to cleanse a space. It could be sage, it could be cedar, it could be Palo Santo, it could be rosemary, or any of those. So you want to make sure you're picking the right smoke for the right situation and what it is you're trying to do. Now, I do know some people insist that you can only use Palo Santo with certain rituals and you have to use sage for others and blah, blah, blah. Mostly, just make sure whatever you're using is ethically sourced, because not all Palo Santo is and not all sage is. So pay attention to where you're getting it from. Other than that, a lot of it is what works best for you and what's convenient for you. Because as I'm talking about all these things, I'm sure there's some different procedures or some different things that are like, oh, I could totally do that. That sounds like a great idea. I have the energy to do that thing. Yes, absolutely, that will work. We'll do it in the morning. And others, you're like, nah, no. And I get it. And there is no one particular way to protect your home. Just like you can have a door of almost any color, and you can buy a doorknob with pretty much whatever lock you want on it, right? There's no specific way you have to protect your home. And when it comes to the cleansing smoke, yeah, some are a little bit more use specific. However, you can substitute one for another. You don't have to use just Palo Santo for this or just sage for that. It could be, okay, I have cedar and that's all I've got. Well, you can use cedar. Make sure you're setting the intention before you start the doing. That's the big part. Make sure your intention is correct. Justin says, 1890 Victorian on the Columbia River here. Old energy. Yeah, that house has seen some stuff. I hope you cleanse it on a regular basis and keep your wards up. Yeah, because, there's some stuff there. So yeah, energy of the home, really, really important before you move in completely. You want to make sure you've got it solid. Now, you can take those sachets. So I've talked about different herbs, different rocks, different things you can do to help protect your home. And you can put it in a sachet and you can hang it next to your door. You could put it on a wreath to hang in front of your door. You could put it in little bitty vials and put it on your drawstrings for your blinds or your curtains or whatever. So all the different entry points into your home have some sort of protection. And protection shouldn't be just like the ugliest lock you could possibly find. Hey, I'm going to nail this board over the door. No, you want to find something that's attractive and fits in with your decor, in part because you want that to be seamless with the rest of your environment. Because if it sticks out like a sore thumb, you're going to worry at it and you're going to pick at it. You're going to, you're not going to put a lot of positive energy. It's going to bug you. And that's going to be counterproductive. Instead, you want to make sure whatever you're using for protective energies is going to actually work. I know a gal, she was a quilter, so she had these quilt squares, and she put some different things in the center for protective wards with a little bit of cotton, and she bound it up, and so it looked like about the size of a little bit large, extra large marble, and you turn it upside down, looks like a ghost on a stick, whatever. But she has them hanging and next to all the doors into the home, and it's like, that's not my gig. To me, it just looks tacky, because it's just basic fabric. There's no pattern. There's no design. There's no creative license whatsoever. Does it work? Well, yes. Is it direct and straightforward and to the point? Yes. But it clashes with everything. It's kind of like going to a black tie affair and showing up in jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers. You kind of stick out. So whatever you're doing for protective wards around your home or yourself, you want it to blend in. That's why a lot of my jewelry, some of it is protective, some is not. And it's because it fits the whole package, if you will, and it makes me feel like I've got all my bases covered. So when it comes to protecting your home, same kind of thing. You want to make sure you've got all your bases are covered. And there's not any one thing that stands out and says, oh, look at me. I'm the wart. You don't want that. You want everything to blend seamlessly. Contrast or match, whichever works, but you want it to kind of blend in. Let's see. When you move into a new house, don't be afraid to walk in and say hi. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but every building has an energy to it. And you can tell when a home has been vacant because the energy feels just kind of stale and stagnant. Or if it's an old barn and it's kind of fallen a bit and it just feels empty and abandoned because there's no livestock. No one's using it. And it's like the energy is just gone. Well, it's because the energy is gone. There's the trying to think, what is the energy, the creativeness, the life force of the structure is just kind of gone. Let's see. So Palo Santo. Justin asks, Jackie added Palo Santo to her cleansing smoke. Am I familiar with that? Yes. Palo Santo is very, very cleansing. It is often spiritually purifying and energetically cleansing. Now, Palo Santo has been used for generations or centuries, whatever, in the Andes for purification, spiritual purification and energetic cleansing. And is thought that when the wood is burned, it helps to clear negative energy and restore tranquility and calm. Also, burning Palo Santo is thought to bring love, creativity, and good fortune. It kind of brightens the energy a bit and promotes that feeling of positivity and joy. Now, do I like Palo Santo? Yeah, kind of. It's not my favorite, but it's a tool to use. Just like often, when we're creating something or building something, we have our favorite tools that we use, favorite hammer or whatever, preferred pair of pliers. Maybe I'm weird. It's just my hands I've got big palms but stubby fingers. So I like a smaller pair of pliers because it fits more comfortably in my hand. So I have my preferred pair of pliers. They're just your preferred tools. So if you like the smell of Palo Santo, use it. Often Palo Santo is able to bring a deeper connection to the divine. So article here, I'll make sure I have the link in the show notes. If meditation is the yin, Palo Santo is the yang. So it often is a good companion to meditation and helping you to meditate and ground yourself. Yeah, and some people love Palo Santo. I love the smell of the wood, just not the smell of the smoke, if that makes sense. Supposedly Palo Santo's good for colds, flu, anxiety, that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff. The oil, I do like the oil. Yeah, I just don't like burning. I don't like the smoke smell, but the sticks smell great. Kind of like sweetgrass. I love the smell of sweetgrass, especially when it's warm. It's just, to me, it's like lazy summer afternoon. But burning sweetgrass, I'm just excited about it. I know, I'm weird, and I get it. Palo Santo also helps clear out the energies of the space. So if you're moving into a new space, often Palo Santo is a good one. It's a clarifier, and it can also cleanse your crystals, your stones, that kind of thing. So, and also supposedly it's anti-mosquito. I don't know. I've not used it that way, but if it is, awesome. Because, yeah, we all want to get rid of the mosquitoes, right? Okay. When we're walking into a building, especially so like Justin lives in an 1890 Victorian, that's a house with a lot of history to it. And so there's going to be an energy to it. There's going to be a spirit to the house, if you will. And it's not necessarily a bad one or a good one. It's just, it's part of the house. And when you move into an older house, especially like that one, you want to introduce yourself. When I moved into the house I'm in now, I walked through prior to moving in and ran my fingers along the walls, like, oh, this is great. I could see this here. Basically, I'm mentally moving in and unpacking things and how am I going to decorate this and what am I going to do there and blah, blah, blah. As I'm mentally, filling the space with my excesses of stuff, because I do have a lot of stuff, it's a way of getting to know the house. And sometimes older homes do have spirits associated with it because they've already had generations, born, live, and die within its walls. And so there's already that history, that ancestry, if you will, to the structure. So, yeah, make sure you stop and say hi. Just like you might look out and say hi to the birds in the morning, you say hi to the house. Now, before you move in, I do recommend cleaning, not just cleaning like, scrubbing the floors and washing out the cabinets, but I mean, you do the smoking and then you use, the cleaning, the soaps, and you want to take all of that out. You don't want to leave the dirt in the vacuum cleaner bag or in the garbage bag in the house, because you're picking all that up and you're containing it in a jar, and you want to take it outside and put it in the garbage can so it can go away. You don't want to keep spreading it around. Heather, hi. How you doing, Heather? The new name. So living in New England, it's pretty hard not to come to land that has native Wampanoag land energy. So using kitchen witchery with the clear crystal in the cookpot, cooking with herbs helps in cleansing. Yeah, absolutely. a lot of the land that has a lot of history to it, you need to be respectful for it. That's why I've been to where Custer had his last stand in southwestern Montana. Kind of a boring space. And on the one hand, I'm looking around, it's like, how on earth did anybody hide here? Seriously? People hid here? Did they not have glasses on the other people? I mean, what the heck? But on the other hand, it's like, I totally got it. Because it is easy to hide even in flat ground. Oh, guess what? Shoot. Stop. Time out. We'll talk about it when we come back from break. How's it the break already? Whew, time flies. All right. Be right back. Hi, guys. Whatever. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. We're talking about cleansing and cleaning and protection and all the stuff. So, Oh, I was talking about something before break. I remembered it all throughout the break. And then I see the on air and my brain just goes, gone. Drat. Oh, Custer's Last Field. Yeah, Custer's Battlefield. So, Custer's Last Charge. Yep. That area. I've been there, and you could feel the energy. You could feel the energy of those that passed. And it was fascinating to be there because, you could feel the history. And I'm sure that if I had the opportunity to, say, go to Gettysburg or any of the other big battlefields that we have in the country, I would feel the energy because there is an energetic signature. Now, I didn't feel like it was dangerous, but yeah, it is interesting. So, but yeah, as Justin says, our house is on the Oregon Trail. Natives lived here for thousands of years, and Lewis and Clark came through when the West was settled after the Civil War. A lot of rough history. Yes. That can also be said for most of the country, however. We really do need to respect our past and remember where we came from. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's true. That's part of the reason why I do believe in the land whites, even though it's more of a Nordic tradition or aspect. Although I am Germanic descent, so I kind of identify there anyways. But there are protective energies or spirits within the land that we live. And so, like in the battlefields, some of those spirits have been disturbed. They're not happy. Over time, things change. They heal. They move on. They accept. It's complicated. But in other places, it's like hotspots. Think of Chicago. Chicago has been a hotspot pretty much ever since Chicago became Chicago. And before. Just because of the proximity to the lake and everything else. And you know what? It's always going to be a hotspot. That's why it shows up in so many books talking about the hotspots. And yeah, it's... You can... I wouldn't live in... no. I've been to Chicago 3 times. I don't need to go back. I remember the energy, and it's really sad because I like the Cubs, but I'm not going to go because I don't like the energy there. That's just all there is to it. From an esoteric point of view, not from any other point of view. So, yeah, just be aware. So, yeah, go through when you're cleansing your space, whether it is using smoke or something else, moon water, and splashing it around or spritzing it, etc. You want to make sure you leave the doors open or the windows so that the negative stuff can leave. Cornered energy is not always pleasant energy. It's quite often malevolent. And then some people will leave a broom right next to the front door. Did you know? That's because it could be a reminder to sweep out the bad energy. Yes. If you turn it upside down so the bristles are pointed up, generally it means you want someone to leave. Sometimes having that near the door is a good thing. Yeah. So for me, part of cleaning, dishes happen first, then I sweep, then I vacuum, then I mop if I'm going to mop. When I'm doing the dishes, I like to wipe down all the counters, scrub the stove, that kind of thing. And that's just my process. I have to start with the dishes before I can do anything else. If I'm going to clean the bathroom, which I loathe cleaning the bathroom because it's the bathroom, dirty things happen there. I start with the toilet. It's the worst thing. I just want to get it done and move on so I can do other things. But that's just part of my process. I have to start there. I will often finish with the bathtub. But again, that's my process. If I'm going to clean a room, sometimes I have to take everything out of the room and clean it and put everything back in. Just because that's part of the process. And by moving things around, you're freshening the energy, if you will. and you're breaking up any of the stagnant energy that might be settling in the corners or in the quiet spaces. Part of it, here we have wolf spiders and brown recluse spiders, and other spiders. They like those quiet, out of the way places. So in cleaning today, I found a couple of those little dirty buggers, and they went right into the vacuum because I don't like them. But basically it told me, those are some spaces that I need to freshen and move things around and shuffle a little bit. That's what seeing a spider tells me, is I need to freshen something. So yeah, with the protection, you can call upon the deities. You can call upon your ancestors. Some people will have pictures of the saints near the doors. And as a protective type measure, sometimes they will have pictures of family, or sugar skulls, or different things like that, or crosses, depending on your tradition. A Bridget's cross is also a very protective thing, and is very popular this time of year, partly because it's harvest season and that's kind of what it looks like. So, there's quite a few things you can have around your space for protective. You can also have, you can make, say, a magical salt. Let your kiddos sprinkle it around. Kids love sprinkling stuff on the floor. They'll giggle. So if you mix together some salt and herbs like rosemary, rose, raspberry, cinnamon, bay leaf, pepper, mint, thyme, basil, clove, ginger, mix it all together and give it to your kiddos with a spoon to sprinkle it out all over the floor. You could, and it'll work, and the kids will have fun doing it. Would I leave it on the floor? No, I'd probably vacuum it up because I'm taking all that stuff out. You can also do a salt jar. So not just the herbs, but that you're sprinkling around to clean up. But you could just have a little pot of salt with different herbs in there, or salt water. Brambles from raspberries used to be hung up at doors and windows when someone passed, to keep their spirit from returning to the home, which I think is kind of interesting. Let's see. I need to keep that. That can go away. I'm trying to close out tabs. I've got too many. So if you are doing ritual work for cleansing, or for protection, you're going to have clearing. You're going to use a banishing sometimes. And then maybe you're going to invoke or evoke the divine, the deities that you work with, your spirit guides, your ancestors, your familiars. And sometimes you're going to want spell bottles or something like that in the four corners of your property, or as an anchoring ward, or in your home, or all the above. And when it comes to a pentagram or something like that, you know what? It's pretty basic, the 5 points for spirit, air, water, earth, and fire. And then, just, draw it on your window with your moon water or your salt water. I'm just reading here. Yes, Heather, I totally get it. The Midwest, heavy Germanic influences. Yeah. I had grandparents that used to live in Germantown, Iowa. So yeah, it's amazing how so much stuff is around us. If you leave clutter, it's really hard to have a clean space or a protected space. I am very guilty of the clutter disease, and I know this about myself. It's one of those things that I'm fighting all the time. But if you leave your dirty dishes or dirty laundry laying around, garbage, that kind of thing, this just is not just tacky and unsightly to look at, but dirty dishes and garbage and such actually draws bugs like cockroaches or rats or other parasites. Ick. We don't want any of that. Because you don't want that. The bottom feeders of the world hanging out at your house. That's not your goal in life, right? And so just as there is, the bottom feeders of the world physically, there's also the spiritual and emotional. So often, if you are dealing with depression or just in a mental funk, because it happens, ask yourself, when's the last time you cleaned something? It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something small. Clean out your wallet. Clean out your purse. Reorganize your medicine cabinet. Tidy up your sock drawer. Just something small. Just some place to start. And it's amazing how that one small thing suddenly feels pretty big. And it's kind of like when you go to put the dishes away and you look in the silverware drawer and there's kind of dust or whatever or you put your silverware. Well, a damp paper towel cleans that right out. Yeah, pretty cool. So it's just a little bit. But yeah, if you're feeling guilty about something or ashamed of something, or angry, self-loathing, any of those sad, angry feelings towards yourself, it'll be really hard to do the cleansing of a space, because it's like putting a buffet out and telling the hungry people they can't eat. Before too long, they're going to knock down the door and they're going to eat anyways. So just focus. And if you're having a hard time with that, I definitely recommend counseling, therapy of some sort, because there's stuff that you probably need to get sorted out if you're being drugged down emotionally that way. When you are trying to do wards, you can put them in jars, you can put them in sachets, you can call on different deities. Do your research. What is going to resound with you? What's going to connect with you? It's your home. What best fits you? What suits you? And make sure you're journaling this whole adventure and what resounds with you and what you just can't stand. I have texture issues, so there's some things that I just can't stand texturally. I really can't. Chalk dust is one of them, so I don't use chalk dust very often. But there are other things. And when it comes to calling upon the deity, make sure you're calling upon the right ones. Whether it's the deities that you work with specifically or someone specifically for protection. I'm not trying to think. You'd say the Great Spirit or the God or the Goddess, depending on your tradition, your path, or say, hey, I really need this boundary. What am I going to do with Some people call upon the angels or archangels. It's not my gig, not my jam, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work, or they aren't really there. It's just they're not my dudes, as I've said in the past. Spirit animals, lion, wolf, the mama bear. What is it that's going to help protect you or your space? And then just the different stones. And sometimes you want to make sure that it's not counterindicative. So you're not working with two stones that are polar opposite. They need to be a little bit more sympathetic. And again, this is why we are writing things down in our journal, for it to carry over into your grimoire or your book of shadows. And then make sure you're weaving the different wards together, whatever it is you're setting out. Whether you're doing the railroad spikes on the corners of your property or the perimeter of your property, or hanging your protection amulets or sachets at every door or window or the corners of your property. Make sure you're visualizing them, because it doesn't do you a lot of good to put a bunch of fence posts in if you're not going to put up the fence. For any of you who've ever had animals of any kind, if you put fence posts up, it won't stop anybody from crossing that fence line, whether it's the neighbor kids or a dog or a cow. It doesn't matter if you don't put the fence wire up or the fence panels. So when you're putting your protective wards up, each of the individual charms or jars or sachets, whatever, those are the individual posts. And as you're setting them, you're wanting to make sure your intention is specific to linking them. And as you're doing it, you want to make sure you're concentrating on the different posts and a line of energy going to each one of them, so that it is a complete circle or completed space. Otherwise, you're leaving the gate open and the horses will get out. So, yeah. Justin says, I have trust issues with counselors and many proclaimed mental health professionals. Had some bad experiences or negative experiences. Yeah, totally get it. It's frustrating because not all mental health employees or providers are created equal. Some are fantastic and some are anti-fantastic, or fantastically great and fantastically horrid. Just remember, you're paying them to provide a service to you. You can fire your mental health professionals and find someone who's going to truly meet your needs. And it's hard sometimes because you think you found someone and no, you really didn't, because, yeah. Nothing like going to a therapy session and feeling attacked by your therapist. That's counterproductive. Yeah. So make sure you're picking someone good, vetting the process, and don't be afraid to fire them and go somewhere else. I mean, you're supposed to feel there's a process, but at the end, you should feel better after going to the counselor or the therapist for a little bit, not worse. That has happened to me. It's not very pleasant, and yeah, I fired that therapist. And it's not always a good fit. So if the therapist isn't a good fit, you're not going to get the healing that you need or the ability to process the issues that you're trying to get processed. That's all. So, find what's going to be best for you. Let's see. Yeah. Where are we at for time? Got about 7 minutes left on time. So last night I started going in and talking a little bit about what some of the bad habits that we sometimes pick up with our faith, our tradition, our beliefs. Because spirituality, has a lot of foundations in, say, Christianity. Well, Christianity doesn't do much good if you're going to follow Zeus. Two different schools of thought, two different traditions, two different things. And if you are not making sure that you're in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time, is not going to help. It'll make things worse. Oof. No worries, Leah. For those of you that are dealing with therapists that are not necessarily of your own choice, it's assigned by the state, that kind of thing. Because I know it happens, especially where like foster or adoption, or the child has had some sort of negative experience. Sometimes having a guardian ad litem is beneficial because their sole purpose is to care for the child and make sure the child's needs are being met to the best of everybody's abilities. Does it always work? No. Does it generally work? The answer is yes. So making sure your kiddos are protected, that's a pretty big deal. And don't be sorry, Leo. That's a big thing. I've had to deal with therapists that were mandated by federal or state government and school. The school required some. I've also some by choice and some other stuff. And it requires a lot of like deep cleansing breaths and grounding practices to make sure I keep my even keel. So, and there's nothing wrong with doctor shopping and getting a second opinion, especially if a diagnosis is not exactly what your child should be or your person should be. So, Heather says, find what fits you. Not all belief systems match your own. True story. Heather is so very, very, very right there. Because yes, I think that's one of the best things about being a pagan is I don't feel like I've been shoehorned into a box that just doesn't fit, that doesn't feel right. I'm not wearing somebody else's clothes, if you will, or socks. I'm not going to borrow socks. I don't want to wear somebody else's socks. Ew, no. But intuitively, I know what's going to work for me and what doesn't. So when it comes to protection and such, I wear certain jewelry sometimes because I feel the need to wear it. My intuition says it's necessary. Sometimes I'll do different things around the house because it feels appropriate, because it is necessary. Just like occasionally you hear something in the news and I feel it necessary to participate in Idaho's current law of permitless conceal and carry, because it feels appropriate for whatever situation is going on. And there have been the occasional one because this is the skinny part of Idaho, and it's got a lot of traffic going from Idaho to Washington and back. And until the borders were closed, a lot of traffic up and back down from Canada. And so let's just say the alphabet agencies are very common in the region. There's a lot of them. Okay, Leo, yes, I have used his socks and vice versa. But generally speaking, no, I make sure I have my own socks because I like the ones with the extra tightness around the arch of my foot. So that's just personal preference. And I don't like crew socks as much as he does. So yes. Just one of those things. But so yeah, when it comes to cleansing and protection, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of resources. There's a lot of tools. And do your research. Make sure you're picking the things that are resounding with you and fit your lifestyle and your needs. It doesn't do you very much good to sprinkle salt around the outside of your house if you live in the middle of an apartment complex. I mean, what are you going to do? Put salt around the entire apartment complex? There's other ways to protect your space. So, yep, there just is. So we are pretty much done for the weekend already. Holy cow. I hope you guys have had a fantastic equinox and Maven and fall celebrations. Enjoy the weekend if you haven't been able to take a break and sit down and enjoy. Check out the website, www.paisleyweld.com. to see what's going on in my world, or you can always go to www.ialife.com to see what ialife is all about. Both are fantastic. For those of you who are in North Idaho, tomorrow afternoon, we are doing Hectic Eclectics coffee get-together. So if you have the opportunity to come have coffee at Starbucks in Ponderay, do it. I'll see you. I'll be there. Anything else? Not that I can think of. I'm sure there's something. I'll remember it in about 2 days and be like, oh, yes, I got to write it down. Because that's just the way of it. So any ideas or questions, don't be afraid to send me the email at wildepaisley@gmail.com. So thanks for joining me tonight. This is Paisley Wild. This has been The Spaces Between. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.